this could be an entire segment, but maybe we just get the Cliff Notes version. Can you review broader healthcare outlook in context of the upcoming presidential election, i.e. risks of a Democrat versus Republican, what either scenario looks like, maybe just on a high level?
Yeah, so
I guess it's either, Trump is still president or we have a Democrat, and there are probably variations of Democrat. But.
Okay, so I think if you look, the big long-term view for me is that, beginning in 1968 with the invention of Medicare and that policy, we've been on an accelerating and disproportionate inflationary trend, healthcare versus everything else. What we're heading into and what we've been in since probably 2002 is slowing unit volume and lower margins.
Okay.
That's demographic, but it's also, we've reached the upper limit of what a consumer can pay, an employer can pay, and what the government can pay. We now have healthcare IT. We now have all these tools at our disposal, society-wise, in terms of how are we going to control these costs? And I think once the camel's nose is in the tent, and it's already in the tent, it's a slow and then rapid deflationary or disinflationary environment. I think that's wildly exciting because I've been looking at a consolidating pool of big companies that have, grown much slower over time, have used policy tools to essentially wield a market advantage that's not real. That there's been a lot of bad behavior that I've been seeing, from products that harm patients that get used anyway because the doctor gets paid some amount versus something that does no harm and is cheaper, but the doctor doesn't get paid. Like there's all these awful and weird and dissociative kind of incentives out there. I think from a public markets perspective, the innovation we're seeing in the private side, and we're getting more and more involved with some of these companies, there's a lot of really cool stuff happening. And like virtual medicine, telemedicine, we really like it as a space. I like Teladoc.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, this might not be the right tape for that name,
yeah.
But at the end of the day, will telemedicine be pervasive? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That's going to open up all sorts of other opportunities and all other sorts of cost savings. And if we can deflate healthcare, the big difference between the U.S. and the rest of the world is the price per unit. If we can deflate that price per unit, it's going to open up a lot of care improvement, outcomes improvement, and cost improvement. But it's not going to be easy. And but the political environment here, I think, is we got to control prices. That's both Democratic and Republican, and the gig is up.
Okay.